This conference will now be recorded.
Hi friends, good morning. So in this Business Intelligence Master program, so in today's session, we are going to talk about create your first pipeline in Azure Data Factory. So we are going to create our first pipeline in Azure Data Factory. Yesterday we have created pipeline, but we have not discussed in detail about our pipeline, right? Just to have you some idea, I have created linked services, I have created data science activities and pipelines. Today we will try to understand each and everything with respect to our first pipeline. So what all things we need to implement a pipeline? So we need a linked service to connect to the source and destination. We need a data set to fetch data from source and load it into the sink. That is nothing to target. To copy data from source to target, we need a thing called activity. That is, we are using a copy activity. So finally, I'm going to use a pipeline to execute all these activities, or you can call it as a task. Okay, let's see today. So in today's session, we will learn Azure Blob Storage Containers Hierarchy. So yesterday we talked about blob storage. See, I will tell you one thing. You are not responsible for creating the storage accounts. You are not responsible for creating Azure Data Factory. All these things will be done by your admin. Okay, so you no need to worry about storage optimize, whether it is a standard performance or premium performance, what kind of redundancy we need to take care. All those things you no need to worry. Yesterday session, whatever we discussed first 40-50 minutes, those things you are not going to discuss. Those things you are not going to do in real time. Those things will be done by your admin team, but just to have some idea, I have given that information. If you're not clear on yesterday first 40 or 50 minutes of session, do not worry, that is not relevant to our role. Okay, so today we will see Azure Blob Storage Container. So the how to create account, then how we can create a folder, how to upload the data into the blob storage. Yesterday we have done, same thing we need to do today. And then I will show you CSV file overview, how the CSV file will look like. Then we will talk about the data flow diagram. Data flow diagram means, so how, so when you implement a pipeline, how the how the flow is going to be, how many linked services you are going to create, how many data sets you are going to create, how this entire picture will look like end of the day. So we will see all those things next. Estimations. Estimation means we are going to estimate, so for this particular requirement, how many linked services we need, how many data sets we need, how many pipelines we need, we are going to estimate. Then we are going to talk about something like debug functionality in Azure Data Factory. So yesterday, if you remember, I have done something called debug, because you don't know the difference between debug and trigger. So actually, if you run both, your pipeline will execute. There is a difference between debug and trigger. So we will talk about that. Okay, debug and trigger. Next, prerequisite. So what all things we need to understand today, lab session. Today we are going to do the lab. And the required resources. What are the required resources? And the naming convention. So what are the naming conventions we need to use when you are creating the linker service, when we are creating the data sets, when we are creating the activities and pipelines, right? When we are using pipelines, activities. Okay. Next, with respect to demo, we will see create storage account, how to create storage account, upload file into the storage account. Then we will see how to create Azure Data Factory V2, create linked service for blob storage using integration. So try to understand what is linked service. Linked service is basically for the blob storage. Okay. We will understand how to connect to the blob storage using integration runtime. Integration runtime is a compute infrastructure. If you remember, delivery boy was going to do the actual task in the same way. Integration runtime, compute infrastructure, who is going to do actual reading the data, connecting to the sources, copying this data, everything. Next, create source data reference. So that is nothing but once we connect it to the blob storage, we need to read the data. That is nothing but we need to create the source data set, that you can call it as a source data reference. Then we need to create the sink data reference. Okay, fine. Next, I'm going to create the pipeline. I will debug the pipeline. I will tell you. So once you create a pipeline, you can debug the pipeline, you can run the pipeline. So what is the difference between debug and running the pipeline? Okay, we will discuss. So once we do these things, we will monitor this pipeline execution details. If the pipeline failed or whatever happened, how to monitor these pipeline details. Okay, so these are the things we are going to discuss in today's session. My first question is, everybody should answer. Now, if you log in into Facebook, can you make a friend request to 2 people at once? So suppose I logged in into Facebook now. Can I send a friend request to two people for one login? If I log in once, can I send a friend request to 2 people? Or this is one question. Second is whether I need to, so suppose if I log in now, I will make a friend request to one person. Again, I need to log in to make a friend request to the second person. Which one is true? Out of these 2 questions, which one is true? Single login or 2 logins is required to make a 2 requests? Single login or 2
Single
logins?
login.
Single login, sir.
Very good. Everybody know it, right?
Single login.
Single login. Yes. Everybody know it's a single login, right? Correct. Now you need to understand, if you are trying to connect to the blob storage, if I want to copy data from same blob storage, inside same blob storage, if I want to move data from one folder to another folder, same storage, if I want to move data from one folder to second folder, how many times I need to connect to the storage? Do I need to connect 2 times or do I need to connect only 1 time?
One time, sir.
One time.
One time.
Harish.
One time.
Okay.
One
So
time.
everybody agree with me, only 1 time, or anybody is having answer?
One time.
Okay, very good. So only 1 time is enough. Okay, let's say second example. I have a storage account 1, I have storage account 2. There are 2 storages. Now I want to move data from storage account 1 to storage account 2. How many linked services I need to create?
2. 1.
Okay.
1.
Okay, very good. Whoever says 2, they are good. Whoever says 1, they are also very, very good. So we'll see who all are answering 1, who all are answering 2. Okay. So whoever is telling only 1, can you tell me, if you have a 2 Facebook accounts, I want to send a friend request from both the IDs. So if you log in only once into one account, that is fine. If you log in into one account, can you make a friend request from both the accounts? No, right? You need to log in into 2 accounts to make a friend request from both the IDs. So you needed 2 connections. We have 2 storages. We have a 2 storages. Storage 1, I have storage 2. There are 2 storages. Previously, we talked about one account. In same account, I have 2 folders. Now I am talking about I have 2 accounts. When you have a 2 accounts, 2 linked service, 2 connections is required. Let's say you have ICICI Bank and HDFC. You need to connect to the both if you want to check balance or whatever. You cannot just log in into ICICI to check HDFC Bank balance, right? So like that, if you want to see the data, whatever you have in the storage account 2, you need to connect to the storage account 2 separately. So whatever data you have in storage account 1, if you want to see, you need to connect to the storage account 1 separately. So now you need a 2 linked services. Okay, is it clear to all of you whoever answered the 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, thank you. Now you need to answer me one more thing. Data set refers to a folder level. Okay, folder level. Suppose if I want to read data from folder 1, I need to create a data set, one data set. If I want to read a data from folder 2, I need to create another data set, because first data set already pointing to the data set 1. So for pointing to the folder 2, I need to create a new data set. Okay, with this example, now I want to move data from same account. How many linked services we need? 1. So in same account, I have 2 folders, input folder and output folder. I want to move data from input folder to output folder. How many data sets I need to create?
2.
2 data sets.
How many data sets we need to create? Okay, 2. Everybody is saying 2, right? Fine. Now I'm asking how many linked services we need for this requirement, how many data sets we need for this requirement. I am not moving the slides. I'm just trying to understand how many people are understanding these requirements.
So one
Now
link service, 2 data sets.
Very good. One linked service and
Yes.
2 data sets we need. Correct. Now, second requirement, I want to move data from storage account 1 to the storage account 2. How many linked services we need? How many data sets we need?
2 link
So
services.
I will give you more clarity.
2 linked
So,
services.
in storage account 1, I have an input folder. In storage account 2, I have an output folder. Now I want to move data from storage account input folder to the storage account 2 output folder. Arun, you are
2 linked
silent.
services.
Yeah. Malaya, actually, data set will be like, say, one linked services, it will be 2 actually, if I'm not wrong.
Linked services will be 2 and the data sets will be
1.
So what is data set, Arun? Data set refers to a data. Which data? So I need to create a one data set for my input data for reading. What data you want to read? So I need to create another data set to refer where to load this particular data. That is my output data set. So you need to have a 2 data in this. Okay.
2 data. Okay. 2 data set. Okay.
Okay. So remaining things will have more clarity, but most of you understood the requirement. Let's move on. Now you see Azure Blob Storage container. If you remember, this is account. Once you create a storage account, inside storage account you create something called container. Inside container you can able to upload the data. Maybe like you can upload any files, images, audio files, video files, anything you can upload. Okay, so where you uploaded these things, we will have a metadata. Yesterday we have seen all these things. Okay. Next. So CSV file overview. What is CSV? C is nothing but a comma, S is nothing but a separated, V is nothing but a value. Comma separated value file is a delimited text file that uses a comma to separate the values. Example, each line of the file is a data record. Each record consists of one or more fields. Separator can be comma, pipe, and a tab. Let me show you the data example. See. So this is how each line, each word is separated with comma. Okay. Again, second record. So each row is a one record. Header record, actual data record 1, 2, 3, 6, Smith, John 5, 1, 1962. This is one record. 2398 Adams, John 322 1976. This is a second record, right? So each record is separated with a comma. So it can be a comma, it can be a pipe, it can be a tab. Example, see if it is a pipe, you need to say pipe here. Name, company, email, password. So comma separated value means always you don't need to have a comma. It can be pipe also, it can be tab, it can be question mark, it can be anything. Okay, understood? Next. Copy data from block. Tell me.
That it can be mixture of commas and pipeline both.
Yes, you can have a that is called a double delimiter. You can have a both as well. That is called a double delimiter.
Double delimiter. Okay.
Double delimiter. How it will be is, let me explain you. So if you want to put comma and pipe both at once, employee ID comma pipe, L name comma pipe, F name comma pipe, B date, something like that. If you put that is called a double delimiter.
Okay, double delimiter.
Okay, next. So copy data from blob to blob. How to do that? So example, I have a blob storage. In this blob storage, I have a folder called input folder. Okay. Same storage account, I have a input folder. To this particular, so in this input folder, I have a cust.csv file. First, okay, this is my storage account. Same storage account. Here I have a input folder. Same storage. This is the account storage account 1. This is also storage account 1. In this account, you have an input folder which is having cust.csv. You have output folder. Okay. Now my requirement is this is the same storage. Again, I am explaining same storage. In same storage, you have an input folder. You have output folder. Now in input folder you have custom.csv file. This file I want to move it into output folder. Okay, how to do that? First you need to create a linker service to connect to this particular storage account. Okay, once you create this linker service to connect to this particular storage account, then I will create the data set by using this linker service. I can able to, by using this connection, I can able to read this custom.csv. So I will create a something called input data set. I will create a something called input data set. So now I need to tell what I need to do with this input data set. Should I delete or should I copy? So if it is a copy, you need to tell the destination address where to copy. So it's a, my task is copy activity task. Copy activity. So in which okay, so how you want to load, whether you want to load it as is, I want to load, but for that you need to create an output data set. Why? Because you need to tell where you want to load this data. So you need to create an output data set to tell where you want to load this data. I want to load this data in output folder, but to connect to the output folder, what you need to do, you need to create a linker service to this particular storage account. But already we have created that linker service here, right? Same linker service you can able to use here. So only one linker service will be there, but two data sets will be there. This input data set will point to this input folder. This output data set will point to the output folder. But these two linker services is nothing like one only. One time I will create, and the same thing I will use in both the places. I will show you how you can use this single linker service in both the places while creating the input data set, while connecting to the output data set. How you can use, I will explain you. Okay, but so once you have created all these, once you run your pipeline, file will move to the output folder. But who is going to do all these things? Integration runtime is going to do all these things. Who is going to manage all these things? Azure Data Factory is going to manage all these things. Okay, is it clear to all of you, or any questions, friends?
Malay, a quick question from me. What is the Azure integration runtime? Could you please explain a little more about that?
Okay, anyhow, we need to discuss more on this. See, Azure integration runtime is a compute infrastructure which used to copy data. See, how you like, data factory is a dummy thing. Actually, integration runtime is a computer. Okay, computer is going to do all the things. What computer will have? It will have a softwares and hardwares. In hardware, you will have a data softwares which we are going to use to process this data which you have stored in a hard disk. Okay, example, I want to read the data which I have in hard disk. You are going to use some software. So whenever you say you open notepad or whatever, and you open a file, it will be visible for you to read, right? So you will have a hard disk in your system. With the help of hard disk, you are going to store the data. With the help of software, you are going to do processing or whatever you want to do, you are going to do with the help of software in the same way. So these are the integration runtime. These are computers. These computers are going to connect to the different sources for reading the data. Once it reads the data, it will copy this data into this destination based on the task which you are assigning. Okay, already Microsoft team has designed these computers in such a way that whenever you say, can you connect to this particular storage? So it will take some keys. Once you provide those keys, it will connect to the storage. So next, when you click on data sets, so within these computers, everything is going to happen. Within this computer infrastructure, everything is going to happen. When you just click on data set, it refers to particular folder. So whatever folder you are selected, to that particular folder it will refer. Whenever you have uploaded some data into that particular folder, this data set will pick that particular data. Next, when you select a particular activity, based on what kind of activity you have selected, so based on the activity, this Azure integration runtime will perform that particular task. Okay, example, if you say copy activity, it will copy the data. So to copy data, you need to provide the destination address as well. Okay, suppose if you say delete activity, so you don't need to have a destination address. Simply you point to the input folder you want to delete, so it will delete this particular data. Okay, it's a compute infrastructure basically. Okay, clear? Clear? Who asked this question?
Yes, Malay.
Now let's move on. estimations, how many linked services we need. For each storage, one linked service is required in ADF V2. So we are going to use a single storage. So we need only one linked service. How many data sets we need to copy data from input container to output? See, it depends on reference points. We need to create data sets. For input container, one data set, output container, one data set. Total 2 data sets we need to create for this particular requirement. How many copy activities? One copy activity is required to copy data from blob to blob, blob input data to blob output container. Next, how many pipelines we need? One pipeline we need. Okay, we are going to use a single pipeline. Multiple tasks you can execute within a single pipeline. Next, what type of wire we need to use to copy data from blob to blob? We have different types of integration runtime. Those I will just discuss in some time, because we supposed to discuss previously only, but if I completely take theory, you will get bored, right? So that's why I just stopped theory part and I started with some practicals. If we do few labs, then we will go back and discuss about Azure integration runtime. Only this is the one more theory session. Apart from Azure integration runtime theory part, we don't have anything else. Okay, completely everything we have a labs only. So these are the estimations. Let's go with the debug functionality. Okay, so debug functionality is basically, let's say you have multiple things. You have copy activity, copy task, delete task, transformation task, multiple tasks we have implemented. Sorry. Yeah, so debug functionality, what it will do when you have a task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4, so some failures are happening. Okay, some failures are happening. Let's say you know that you have issue with at task number 4, but why task number 4 has failed? The reason might be many, right? One reason is you have not configured task 4 properly. Second thing is you have not configured task 1 or task 2 or task 3. So that's why that result has changed. As the result has changed, task 4 is failing. Now what you need to do? Instead of executing all the tasks at once, I want to execute only task 1. If the task 1 output is proper, then I will enable task 1 and task 2. I will execute a task 1 and task 2. If these two are fine, then I will execute task 1, task 2, task 3. If these three are fine, then I will execute task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. So task is nothing but an activity. Now I have 4 activities. I am executing activity 1 first. If it is fine, then I am just enabling 2 activities. 2 activities I'm executing. Next 3 activities I'm executing. Next I'm executing 4 activities. Now, what is happening? All these multiple activities where you will have in a pipeline. So pipeline is having all these 4 activities. What you can do, you can execute this particular pipeline partially. You can execute this particular pipeline partially, meaning you can execute a activity 1 alone out of 4 activities in a pipeline. If you want to execute only particular activity, okay, then you can use the debug functionality. But if you have something like trigger you cannot control. I want to run only this activity, I don't want to run these other activities. You cannot control that things in trigger. But we have a debug functionality. What it will do is it will allow you to debug whenever something goes wrong. If you want to identify the issue, you need to debug. Okay, how to debug is you need to disable other activities. You need to enable only the activities which has the issue. Okay, you will see more things practically. See, we can execute a pipeline in 2 ways. One is debug, second one is trigger. ADF debug functionality allows testing pipeline without publishing changes. So you are going to basically testing the pipeline, whatever pipeline we have designed, that particular pipeline we are going to test it. For that, we need to use the debug functionality. So whenever you want to execute debug, you don't need to save these changes. Suppose that you have modified the name, you have created the, maybe let's say you are referring to the another folder or something. So in all those cases, you don't need to save those changes. Whenever you create any pipeline or something, you don't need to save those changes. Next, this functionality also allows setting breakpoint on activities. Breakpoint on activities means you can disable some of the activities and you can enable some of the activities. So that particular, so as I mentioned, right, the activity 1, 2, 3, 4 you have, I want to execute only activity 1, and 2, 3, 4 I want to disable. Something like that, you can create a breakpoint and you can execute only the activities which you want. Next, which would ensure partial pipeline execution. This is nothing but a partial pipeline execution. You have 4 activities in a pipeline, but you are executing only one activity. That is nothing but a partial execution of the pipeline. Run history. Oh, this point, one second. Basically, this point is a bit wrong because previously we don't have this functionality, but now we have this functionality. Run history we are able to store nowadays. Now we have a new functionality. One second. Yeah, see, the third point is example. In a pipeline, if you have a copy activity, then stored procedure activity, we need to test my copy activity without executing stored procedure activity. I want to test my copy activity whether it is working or not. So without executing stored procedure activity, then we need to create a breakpoint on copy activity to control execution of stored procedure activity. So if you create a breakpoint on copy activity, only copy activity will execute. Your stored procedure activity will not execute. All those things I will show you practically. Don't worry. Okay, that's all about debug and yes.
Mala, could you please tell me that the store procedure? What is store procedure?
Stored procedure, everything we will discuss. See, all the things I cannot discuss in one day. You need to wait. This is a one activity. Stored procedure. Copy activity is one. One is delete activity. We have multiple activities. We will discuss one by one. Okay, just to tell you, when you have multiple activities, one of the activities copy, another activity stored procedure, I want to execute only activity, copy activity. I don't want to execute stored procedure activity. Then you can disable this by creating the breakpoint on copy activity. Okay, what is stored procedure activity? To execute your stored procedure, we have a stored procedure activity, but many of you don't know what is stored procedure. So this is like difficult for you to understand what is stored procedure, everything at this time. So everything I will discuss one by. Okay. Any other questions in this? Okay, fine. Prerequisite. So before you do the lab, try to understand what is storage account. We already know. Okay. It's a kind of a blob storage, right? We have created Azure Data Factory. What is Azure Data Factory? What is integration runtime and types? So this you don't know, but we will discuss. Don't worry. What is linked service? We know. What is dataset? What is activity pipeline? Everything you know, but you have not done anything practical. So, okay, let's do everything practical today. Required resources are, I will just create storage account and Azure Data Factory V2. I will create only these two. Okay. So before we go and do the demo, we need to have a final slide which has the naming convention. Naming convention. Suppose if you want to create a data factory, so remember data factory name is globally unique. Example, in our training, somebody has created a data factory name Cloud Pandit ADF. Then same name I cannot create, with the same name I cannot create a ADF in my account because it's a global unique. Somebody has taken this name in Iran or UK or wherever it is, same name you cannot use. It's a global unique. Remember. Okay, next, linked service. Okay.
Malia, may I know if there is a unique or not? How do we find that if we are using bulk of data?
When you are creating, it will throw error. This name is not available. So when you are creating Gmail, it will tell you, right, with this name, mail is not available. The available things are these things. So likewise, data factory, when you are giving the names, it will tell this name is not available. You need to change. You need to give some extra words to make that particular data factory name as unique. Okay. So linked service, data set, pipelines, data flows, all these are unique within a data factory. So within a one data factory, you are going to create a multiple linked services for the different connections. So you cannot say connection for first linked service, you are giving connection. For second linked service also, you cannot give the connection. These are not globally unique, but these are unique within a same data factory, Okay. So now you see naming convention. Suppose if you want to create a linked service for blob storage, ls_azure blob storage. If you want to create a data set for blob storage, ds dataset_azure blob storage. If you want to create a linked service for data lake storage, ls underscore Azure Data Lake Storage, data set for Azure Data Lake Storage, ds underscore adls underscore. If you want to create SQL DB, okay, if you want to create a linked service for SQL DB, linked service means ls will come. Data set means ds will come based on the source. If it is a Azure source, as will come, a will come. Azure means a will come. You see, if it is not Azure on-premise, then a will not come. You see, after ds or after ls, a is not there. For all these Azure resources, we have Azure Blob Storage, Azure Data Lake Storage, Azure SQL. Okay, Azure SQL. It is Azure SQL Data Warehouse. Azure SQL Data Warehouse. Okay, this is normal SQL, on-premise SQL. This is normal on-premise Oracle. That's why SQL, Oracle, something like that. We need to give the names for our linked services data sets. Next, for activities, how to give is for activities, right? So I think, yeah. So data movement activity. Okay, I want to do the data movement activity. What you need to do is basically this. I think. I have not given for activities. This is for the pipeline. Okay, for pipeline PL underscore data movement. Suppose simply you want to copy the data, then you have to say PL underscore data. Suppose if you want to transform the data, PL pipeline for transformation, TRAN transformation. PL underscore data means for the data movement. For data movement, data copying, data deletion, you need to say data. So for any transformation, you need to say PL underscore trans. Okay, so after saying data, PL underscore data movement from where to where. So for here you can see DS data set for SQL person. So in this SQL database person table data to data set I have created for the Azure Blob Storage. Okay, Azure Blob Storage. In Azure Blob Storage, I am just loading as a person. I am loading as a person. A person folder or something, you need to give something like this naming convention for your pipeline, for your linked service, for your data sets. Okay, I will show you with our examples. It will be more easy for you to understand. Okay, this is the theory. Let's quickly start with our lab. So what are the required resources? We need only 2 required resources, isn't it? We need only 2 required resources. See, if you want to create a resource group here first, okay, so resource group is nothing but a grouping of resources, right? Let's say resource group. Just click on resource groups. So this is the resource group. Click on add to create the resource group. First I will create the group today for you to understand easily. Okay, this is the cloud funded BA master program. Click review plus create. Click create. I created the resource group called Cloud Pandit BI Master Program. You see here, you have this. Okay, into this particular resource group, I want to add 2 resources. One is click add to add one by one. Click add to add one by one. First, I need a data factory. Search for data factory. Click on data factory. Okay, click create data factory. So there are different ways to create these data factories. Okay. See, automatically resource group is created because from this resource group we are creating this data factory. This is subscription, you know, region, data center, from which location you want to create this particular data factory. So basically what happens is you have a multiple websites to place a order. Example, I need a laptop. Okay, this laptop can purchase from the different websites, isn't it? Now in the same way we have different cloud providers, AWS, Azure, all these people, isn't it? Now we are going with the Azure. Okay, Azure website. Inside Azure website you see same product, same, let's say I want laptop. Okay, I want laptop. So you will have a different types of laptops, HP, different companies, right? In the same way, if you want data factory, this data factory is available in a different countries, different locations. From which location you want to create this data factory? I want to create data factory from East US data center. Data center is nothing but a where they have hosted their their actual infrastructure. Okay, I need a computer, right? So I'm just creating the computer. So I can able to access the computer which is there in a cloud. Cloud means it will be there somewhere in some data center, but I can able to access it from my system. In the same way, if you want to access your data factory you can create in any data center. Okay, but in general, in real time, how we will decide in which region we need to create data factories based on the client data. If your client is US and the data is available in US, then you need to create this data factory in East US. You have this data, like your client is from Singapore and your data is available in Singapore, you need to create a data factory in Singapore. Okay, like that we have a different location. Let's say in India also we have a 3 different locations. Okay, to Central India, South India, we should have a North India as well, but I think data factory is available in 2 data centers in India, Central India and South India. Okay, so if you want to create this data factory in South India, you can just select South India. Okay, give the name of data factory. This is the name of data factory, Cloud Foundry ADF V2. So now you see, Arun, what it is saying. This data factory name is not available. What it means? Somebody has taken this name. So to make it unique, I will give today date 01/22. See, this is available in green mark. As I mentioned, there are 2 types of data factories, V1 and V2. V1 is no longer available. You need to go with V2, Git configuration. So, but if somebody asks what is the difference between V1 and V2, you can tell them, I don't have much idea on V1, but V1 is a completely, you need to write the JSON code. JSON code you need to write and you need to deploy it, but V2 is completely graphics, UI. Git configuration. In Git configuration, you can configure it later. This is version control tool where you are going to maintain all the code which is generating inside your data factory. When you create a pipeline, code will generate in backend. That code, if you want to load it into any version control tools, you can select into which version control tool you want to load this data. As I don't want to load this data into any version control tool as of now, I'm just selecting okay, just select. I will configure it later. Click review plus create. Remaining things are not required. Create it. Now let's come here, open one more tab, portal.azure.com. Okay. What we need a storage account. How to create storage account? Just click on the storage account. Yesterday we discussed, right? Let's click add to create the storage account, our own storage account. So where you want to create the storage account. So with this subscription, so I want to create on the same resource group. So you can just select like this, and the storage account name. What is the name of your storage account? Cloud Foundry Blob 01/22. I will get today date. Location in which data center you want is to a standard premium. We discussed yesterday. Standard is basically used for bulk data. Okay, and like infrequent access. Premium means you need to basically select a for frequently accessed data. If you have, you need to go with premium, and it's here you will get the SSD, here you will get the HDD. Next you can select blob storage and other options, right? So you can select the blob storage one, other options you can able to select. So you have a geo redundance, local redundance, whatever you want to select, you can able to select all this. If you select the premium, so premium also you can just select the blob storage you want, okay, or file storage you want, or you want storage V2, okay, so storage V1. So whatever version you want to select, you can select, but I will go with standard. So let's go with yeah, yes, previously we created with only blob storage. I think let's go with storage V2 today. And replications also we have discussed. If you go with local, what will happen? If you go with zone, what will happen? If you go with geo, what will happen? Read access. Geo zone redundant storage means same kind of a zone redundant storage, but within a 2 different geographical. Okay, Do not worry, everything will be taken care by your admin as I mentioned. Just click review plus create for now. Create it. Now you have data factory. We have created the storage account. Okay. First we need to prepare the storage account. We need to prepare the storage account. Like we need to upload some data into this particular storage account. Okay, just click on go to resource now. Click container. Okay, you need to go inside container. So see, when you create a V2, you will get containers, file share, tables, queues. We discussed all these things yesterday. Okay, when you just go inside container, it's basically blob storage. Okay, click on container. Okay, so this is basically a folder, high level folder. You can say this is basically input folder. Okay, I'll create the output folder as well here. Output folder. Okay, I have an input folder and output folder. So what I wanted to do, I want to upload data into this input folder. Click upload. Click select. Now let's select results.csv. Click on this. Let's upload. Okay, done that. Okay, results.csv. I have uploaded into input folder. Now go inside output folder and see, do we have any data in this? No. I want to copy that file from input folder to the output folder. Okay. For that, go to data factory, click on go to resource. Is this clear? What I have done in storage account, everybody is clear on this? Everybody is clear on these things? Whatever I have done in this particular storage account, everybody is clear?
Yes, Malaya.
Okay, now this is the data factory. In data factory, open data factory, click on author and monitor to open your data factory actual dashboard. Okay, okay, this is the data factory UI which is coming. Okay, now click on manage tab. Okay, so you see, as we discussed, we have a manage tab where we are going to create the linker services. So how to create linker service? Click on linker service, click new. So to which storage we need to connect? Blob, search for blob. So blob storage, click continue. So naming convention I have explained you. For linked service you need to say ls. Okay, it's a Azure blob storage, ABS. Okay, and this is a ABS connection. Let's say ABS linked service for ABS, something like that you can do. Okay, next. Yeah, you should not give like this. I'll tell you. Linked service underscore ABS Azure blob storage. What is your blob storage name? You can say blob1. Okay, because the reason is if you have a two blobs, you need to understand blob1 and blob2 connection, right? So that's why you can give the blob storage name otherwise. So what is your blob storage name? This is your blob storage name, right? Just give this blob storage name here. See, linked service for Azure blob storage. To which blob storage? This is the blob storage. Okay, this name, just you are farming the name. This can be anything actually. Integration runtime, we will talk about that in detail later, but it's a computer infrastructure. With the help of this only we are going to do. So I want to connect to the storage account. Then there are different ways. One is account key, as you are a service principal manage identity. Account key is nothing but a key will be loaded automatically, meaning if you go to this particular blob storage, you will have access keys. Okay, these are keys. Okay, you have different keys. These keys will be loaded automatically into data factory when you select account key. Okay, account key. So in this, you are loading a connection string or key. So here you see you have a connection string and you have a key. Which one you want to load? Connection string. Okay, so selected connection string. So how to identify which storage connection string you want to import? So from subscription, I'm going to identify my storage name. This is my storage. See, loaded key, something you got it right. You just select again, see loaded key. Again, you just select loading key. The key will be loaded. Let's test the connection. Connection successful. You can create this. Connection successful. You can create this. Okay, this is the linker service. Suppose if I want to connect to the same storage again, so what else I need to do? What else you will do? You will do same thing again. You search for this. Okay, select this and give the name, some name. Okay, you just give account key, subscription, storage account, this one. So what is the use of creating the linker service with the same details again? So that's why we want to create a multiple connections to the same storage. We can have a single connection, that is enough. Suppose if you want to create a one connection for input folder to read, one connection for output folder to read, you no need to have these many, because even if you create a multiple linker services, you are not changing anything. You are going to give the same data. So that's why cancel this. Okay, I have created one linker service. Now I need to create a data sets. Come here. Is this clear? First, linker service is clear to all of you. See, one thing you may
Yes,
think
Malayam.
it was small, but if you are not able to understand these things, see, as the time goes, I will not explain all low level things like linked service, data set, what is this, what is that, because we will not have that much time to discuss all these things. So you just
Can you
check,
show once again? Link
yeah, check
service.
your previous batch. At least sometimes it took 2.5 hours as well. Okay, because even I won't discuss all these things, still it will take 2.5 hours. That's how the use cases we are going to deal with. So that's why you need to clear on these things. Now you just see once again, click on this to see what we have given here. So this is the name you have given. You cannot edit it now. So this is the integration runtime. So you have a different methods to authenticate. I'm using account key to authenticate, and I have selected storage account name, and key will be loaded automatically. Now you see key is loaded automatically.
Account key is like a password or any
Connection string, this one. It will have all the information, storage account name and account key. See, account key you have and other endpoint URL, all those things.
okay.
Test connection if you want one more time. Okay, connection successful, you can cancel. Cancel means already you have created, that's why I just cancel. Okay, now come to author tab. You just check here, this is the author tab. Okay, come to author tab. In this you see data set. You have a data set. Okay, click on this, click new data set. So from where you want to read the data, blob, select, continue. So what type of blob, so what type of file you have? So I have my input is CSV file. Select CSV. This is what? This is a DS. You need to say DS for Azure Blob Storage, and I am trying to read a input folder. I am trying to read a input folder. Okay, this data set is basically for the input folder. But to read the folder, you need to select the connection. Already I have connected to the storage. When I have given the connection, it will show all the folders. Just click on this to browse to the folder. See, two folders it is selecting. This is an input data set, meaning I need to refer to this input folder, results.csv. Click on this. Okay, first row as header. Yes, so if you have a CSV file with headers, you need to check this, and you want to identify the data type of each column. So in this results.csv, one second, see results.csv, if you look at, so we have, this is basically integer column, first column, second one is string, third one is string, fourth one is number again, right, integer. So likewise, you want to identify the data type of each column which we have in this results.csv. You need to say import schema from connection or store from this particular file. Click OK. Okay, now I want to preview the data. What is the data I'm reading? Click on preview data. Okay. Yeah, just click on preview data. See this is the data. Data is coming up now. See, this is the data. Okay. Go to schema to see the schema. See, credit ID is string, credit name is string, credit score is string. Everything it is considering as a string, right? Just click import schema from connection or store. Let's see this time what it is considering. It is still considering as a string only. But if you want to convert that particular schema, you can able to convert. Okay, so I will tell you where you need to convert. Just for now, click on data, new data set. I have created input data set. Okay, I read my source data, but I need to create a data set for loading this data. Okay, blah, storage, click continue. So how you want to load this output data as the CSV? This is a DS for Azure Blob Storage. This is basically for output folder. Use the same connection. See, I'm using same connection. Okay, browse it. Instead of selecting input folder, I'm going to select output folder because I want to load data into this output folder. Okay, first as header. Okay, so you want to import the schema. As you don't have any file, you can import schema. Without import the schema also you can able to create. See, I'm just selecting on, click OK. Both will work because you don't have any data in output folder. So without schema also you can create it. Okay, fine. Now you have input data set, output data set. This is clear. Is this clear to all of you? Data
Yes,
set.
Malaya.
Actually, you are clicking on preview, correct?
What because?
Actually, you are clicking on preview. It show whatever the data we have in that CSV file. Okay. If suppose we have today 10 lines only. If suppose if we have 1 lakh line means it will take a time or it will suddenly show the result.
Preview means it will show some 500 records or something like that. It will not show everything.
Okay,
Preview,
okay.
preview only. First few records it will show.
Okay, Malay.
Okay. Rest of the people, everybody is clear on this? Fine. Now you have created two data sets. Let's click on this. Click pipeline. Okay, I'm creating pipeline. So here you need to give the pipeline. This is basically PL for data movement. Data movement from where to where? Azure Blob Storage to Azure Blob Storage. ABS to ABS. ABS to ABS. You can say ABS input folder to Azure Blob Storage. You can say output folder. Okay, this is my pipeline. What this pipeline is doing? PL for data movement from Azure Blob Storage input folder to Azure Blob Storage
After
output.
data, hello.
Yes.
After creating dataset, we need to create a activity, right? But even
Yes.
to
That's what I'm
pipeline.
doing. See, I created a pipeline. Now, after creating the pipeline, see, activities you will see only when you create a pipeline. That's why I created the pipeline. Inside pipeline, you can see the activities. But these data sets you are going to use within a activity. Now you see these activity, just to bring this activity. So instead of copy data one, if you want to say copy data from Azure Blob Storage input folder to you can say Azure Blob Storage output folder. Output folder, you can say just like that. Okay, copy data from Azure Blob Storage input to Azure Blob Storage output. This is my, like I have given the activity name. So from where you want to load the data? From input data set to I want to load data into my target, that is output data set. You understood? You no need to do anything. Simply from source to sink I need to load the data. What is my source? What is my source? Can you tell me what, from which folder I am reading this data? Input folder. From where I am loading this data? Output folder. Okay. Now, if you want to debug the pipeline, so if you want to create a breakpoint, you click on this. Suppose, let me just tell you. Let's say I'm going to use one more activity called Okay, so I created a breakpoint on this wait activity. What it will do, it will just wait for some 10. So 10 means 10 seconds it will wait. Then once after 10 seconds, it will start executing copy activity. Now I don't want to execute copy activity. See, I just created a breakpoint. When you create a breakpoint, this will be disabled. And when you just debug, only this will execute. Let's see, click on debug. Copy activity will not execute. So this wait activity will execute for 10 seconds, then it will say success. What I have given 10 only, why it is taking this much time? So this is succeeded. It basically took only 11 seconds. One second, like that only it will come. But if you give 10, it will come. If you give 5, please be in mute. Let's debug once. Please Arun, please be in mute. Okay, fine. You see now, this is 6 seconds. So within 6 seconds, it is succeeded. Okay, only this is executing. But if you remove this breakpoint, if you debug it, what will happen? First wait activity will execute for 5 seconds. It will wait for 5 seconds. Then it will start executing copy data activity. Okay, if you click debug now, there is no breakpoints. So it will execute both the things. But if you click add trigger now, okay. So what it is saying, pipeline is not found, please publish first, meaning you need to save all these changes that you have made. Without saving these things, you cannot run the pipeline in the triggers. But if you click debug without publishing, I can able to run wait activity and copy activity. Let's see, click on debug. Now wait activity will execute for 5 seconds, then copy activity will execute. Okay, let's see. See, wait activity is completed. Now copy activity is executing. Just click on this. So this is the source. Okay. Next, refresh this. Click on this to refresh. Yeah, copy activity successful. Click on this to see from where to where you moved. You move data from Azure Blob Storage East US Data Center to Azure Blob Storage East US Data Center. How many files you moved? One file you read, one file you have written. Okay. Let's go to the storage account overview. Let's see that file came or not. Container. Go inside this output. See this results.csv came. I'll just remove this. Okay. See multiple scenarios I'm going to cover. Please focus on this. Now.
Hi. Mal, actually, we tried 3 times to copy data by using that wait. It's copied 2 or 3 times, but the file is showing only one. Why?
What 1 or 2?
No, actually, in here you have applied one breakpoint wait, okay, and we have the copy data area. But once you run the debug, it ran, okay. But we have ran 2 or 3 times debug to copy
Once,
data by using the breakpoint wait. But while we seeing the output folder, we have only one file. May I know the reason?
friends, somebody can answer to Vikas, because whoever understood, they can able to answer Vikas. Who understood the concept, can you tell him?
Yeah, we applied breakpoint for wait. So it has not reached to copy
So
data.
it will override the file basically every time it runs.
No, whoever is saying override, that is wrong. But whoever
No,
saying
it has
breakpoint,
not reached to copy data function. It has stopped there only, near wait function only.
Copy data activity is disabled actually. Once we
created a breakpoint, what it means, only wait activity executed first 2 times. We just now we remove this breakpoint, that's why it executed both the activities. So when both the activities executed, copy activity executed only 1 time, that's why this is happened. Even if you keep running now, it will overwrite. If you keep running, it will overwrite. It will not maintain a multiple copies. Okay, clear Vikas now?
Yes, Malia. But we have applied one breakpoint and one copy data. If suppose we have 10 data and one wait point, we need to
If you
click
create
on
a
that.
breakpoint, See, try to understand the concept. See, you have created a breakpoint copy activity. What is the use of creating breakpoint? Okay, you don't have any other activities after copy activity. If you create a breakpoint, other activities will not execute, but you don't have any other activities. What is the use of creating breakpoint at this? If you create a breakpoint at this, only this will execute, all other activities. After this wait activities will not execute. Like after wait activity, you have copy activity, which is disabled. Now you see, I just debug. Only wait activity will execute. Copy activity will not execute now. Wait and see.
Okay, but we need to select on that to execute, correct?
Yes, that's what. That is the functionality of debug. You can create a breakpoints and you can create it. That's what I have done. And I have not saved any changes, but still debug is executing all the activities. But you see, trigger now. I want to run a pipeline. It is not allowing me to run. It is saying pipeline is not found. Please publish first. So now if you want to run a pipeline with the triggers, you need to publish this. Publish. Go to output folder. Okay, in output folder, I think I deleted the file in output folder. I deleted the file in output folder. Come back. Now once it is published, now I can able to run trigger now and okay. So when you just say add trigger now and okay, this pipeline will is running. But where I can see where this pipeline is running. So to see that, you need to go to monitor tab. You see this is a monitor tab. Okay, third one, click on this monitor tab. So in this you see pipeline is succeeded. What time? 8:37 just now. You click on this, go inside this pipeline to see the activities. You have two activities, wait activity and copy activity. Click on this copy activity. Again same thing happened. One file read, one file written. Let's go to output, refresh this. You will see results.csv. What time this file came? Just 8:37, 31, 30 seconds back.
Malya, it's
Clear because Arun?
Yes, Malya, it's very clear.
Clear because?
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes, Malya, it's very clear.
Okay.
Sir?
Tell me, Purna.
Sir, whenever we debug the complete pipeline, the data movement will be happen and we can see in sync side.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, this data will be saved or not? Only when publish the pipeline, then only it saves, sir.
Yeah, so this particular pipeline code, whatever you have implemented, so if you publish, okay, if you go to author, if you publish this particular pipeline, even if you close this data factory, reopen this pipeline, these activities, everything will be available. If you're not published these things, if you close this ADF, if you reopen, you will not be able to see all these things. But with respect to the data will be permanently write to the storage, it will be available. Data will be a permanent.
Okay,
Whether
sir, that is all.
Debug or trigger, data will be a permanent. Okay. So one final scenario I want to cover for today, and we will close the call. That is small change I will do. That is, you see, you come to output. Let me just remove this output folder. Okay. Let's go one by one slowly. I will introduce the scenarios. Okay. Now you see you have a copy. Now go back to the input folder. So I have a results.cs. So I will upload one more file. I want to move these two files at once. Maybe you can say custom1.csv. These two files I want to move at once. Come here. Okay. You actually what you need to do is come to this this input data set, right? Go into input data set. You see you have selected a particular folder. Don't select any folder. You just select a folder. Okay, don't select any file, just select a input folder. Inside input folder, if you have 10 files, it should pick everything. That's why I'm not specifying any file. That is the input data set I have modified. Go to pipeline. You no need to do anything. You already modified data set, same data set you have given as a source. Okay, but now you need to say file path type. So do you, whenever you want to bring all the files from that particular folder, you need to say wildcard file path is file name star, meaning in this particular input container, star means all the files I need to take and load it into my destination. Let's debug it. Let's see what will happen in this case. Yes, just click on this. It is succeeded. Shit, copy activity is queued. Okay, it is running now. Yes, it is succeeded. Now just click on this. See, 2 files it picked from source. It loaded 2 files into your destination files written. Now go to output folder. To see cust1.csv, results.csv. Okay. We have 2 files. Clear? Just
Can you show it
go,
quickly once again?
come back. See, I have modified my input data set saying that instead of selecting particular folder from input container, I just removed the file name. I just selected the folder and I went into the activity, copy activity. In copy activity, I'm saying, hey, copy, don't select a single file from the input folder, just wildcard file path I selected, meaning in this input folder star means all the files which you have in this input folder, can you take and load it into destination I have not changed. Output container, same output container, so that's why it has loaded these 2 files into output container. You go through the anyhow, this particular scenario we are going to repeat multiple times. Okay.
Malaya, small doubt. We already having that result.csv in. It won't take again the result.csv, right?
We deleted that, bro.
But those are optimization things you can able to do. Whatever data you have loaded, again, I don't want to load same data into my output folder. You can avoid those things. Those are the different scenarios we will cover. But for today, I just removed all the files which I have in my output container, and I brought all the files which I have in input container to the output container.
Okay, you remove that. Okay, fine.
Malay, I'm having a question.
See, advantage of using wait activities, you don't know the other activities, right? So that's why just to show you the debug functionality, I have introduced wait activity, but we won't use wait activity. Yes, we need a better performance. That's why we won't wait our pipelines. Okay. Yes, Vinay, you are right. Next question, quickly, friends.
Malaya, in DSABS input is there, no? In that we are only chosen the, I mean, in input folder we are having the 2 CSV files. If we are having the multiple kind of files like CSV, not only CSV, we are having XML or JSON or some other kind of files. Will it pick up the from input folder?
Yes, you can have any type of file. If you want to load all the files, you need to say star. You can have any type of file, JSON, XML, Excel, anything. You can have everything. You can load it into the output content. You just have to use here in pipeline wildcard star you need to use.
Yeah, but here the question is, we are choosing this delimited text, right, in blob storage when we are creating. So will it take the other, I mean, will it support the other file formats as well?
Yes. So CSV, even though you have selected a data set as CSV, but when you are using wildcard file path, so that it will not read the data. It will just copy file as it is without reading internal data. Okay, bulk insert will happen. So what happens basically, it should scan the data for converting and all. Whenever you are converting CSV to Park or something, so it should scan this data and it has to convert into another format. But what you are doing, CSV, if I want to load it as a CSV. If I have a JSON, I want to load it as a JSON. So what is the need of scanning the data which we have inside that particular files? That files data, it will copy as this without scanning.
We can also give like star.txt just to copy txt files. That would also work.
But it will not work. You need to do it in a different way. Those things we will cover. So that is not working. Star.txt means it should work actually. Only text files it should take. I think, yeah, I think it is working, but I see there is some problem. Those problems I will discuss. Okay, but in previous batches we noticed some of the problems. Those all things we will cover in upcoming sessions. Okay.
How will get account to practice this?
account. So let's discuss few more labs, then you can able to create, because so we have 1 or 2 theory parts and all, so I don't want to waste your account. It's only 30 days free subscription, right? So you need to use that particular account in an optimized way. That's why I'm just asking you to wait few more days. Okay, just wait for tomorrow, maybe Monday we will try to create it. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you all, thank you. That's all for today.